Hello and welcome to a Smurpy video in Sins of Sinister. Round 1 is about to begin, and we are looking at Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants Issue 1. Just gonna zoom in slightly, so hopefully you can see the full pages. There we go. So, we begin with just a recap of Ariko dying, and Storm saying how she managed to escape the clutches of Sinister, and how she went up against the council, and rather than going to war at that time, she was sort of led by destiny to hold fire. So back on Ariko, aka Mars, they weren't ready enough for the attack, and it was everything at once that you could think of, and it cost them dearly. And he ended up being scattered to the winds. And at this point in time, destiny is there. I thought she was always there, to be fair, but clearly not. And she has come to see Storm, and Storm blames her for manipulating her in terms of holding off in this battle, because they should have gone to war with Sinister then, but she held off for a reason. We'll find out that reason towards the end of this issue. So this is very cool. So this is year 10 after the events in Sins of Sinister 1, and it says part 2, Storms 7. I'm not sure why it says part 2, if I'm being honest with you. Maybe I meant to read Nightcrawlers before I read this. I'm not entirely sure. But, and maybe it's meant to flow like that. And I'll come back to, oh crap, I should have read it like that. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because I've read this and I feel like I could read this, and I didn't need to know anything in Nightcrawlers. So part 2, Storms 7. This is written by Ewing. Paco Medina is on the art. J. David Ramos is on the colors. VC's Ariana Mesa is on the letters, and Tom Muller and Jay Bowen are on design as always. I do love how this feels. Now, I've not read X-Men Red at all, just so I'm clear. So I don't know anything going on there. So some of these characters I'm perhaps not familiar with as well. However, regardless, I'm still doing this. And this bit looks quite cool. It just reminds me of, well, Star Wars, let's be honest. There was nothing else going on there. So, Storm's still debating with Destiny why she's come, and it's all around her precog. Her predictions can fall, or is she trying to come for forgiveness? She's not entirely sure, etc. And she calls on John, and who he stabs her, but it turns out it's to be Mystique. And John apparently can tell by body language, vocal inflections are too precise, those sort of things. However, it's all good, because whatever he stabs or something can return. I'm not entirely sure how that works, to be honest with you, and like I said, not reading X-Men 1. So, Mystique has come to... Oh, sorry, she has a dig at John first. She has a dig at John because he was like a bodyguard. Now he's part of the inner ring or whatever it was on X-Men Red. So I'm presuming back then he was perhaps just on the side sort of thing, and not in this inner thing. And she, she makes jokes out because Ariko's gone sort of thing. So Mystique has come with a proposition of how they can reset the timeline. You'll all remember that Sinister has a lab underneath Mur Island, which he can go back and reset the timeline back specifically 10 years where this all began. So we already sort of know where things are perhaps headed, and perhaps how this will maybe end. Perhaps it's already been given away. Maybe there's other intentions here, but very, very simple mission here, that they're going to go on, reset it, etc., and start again. So she says, assemble the Brotherhood. We have a mission. And the Brotherhood is Storm, Cable, Cora, WizKid, IRONFIRE, who you've met, Quick, and guest starring Mystique. That's a bit weird. Mystique just shouldn't be in there as far as I'm concerned. Just, you know, she is not one of the Brotherhood. So, very straightforward. They discuss that it's on Mirror Island and what a place to hide it from the original Moira target, then underneath her original research facility. So, they get there and they are going to go find it, etc. But the lab is underneath the ground. And there's this little moment here which will become significant in a minute where Mystique threatens WizKid because she's got the two guns, etc. And they all sort of fight it off. Now, that will become irrelevant in a little bit. And you think, that all makes sense. I didn't think what I thought. What on earth was that in there? So, Mirror Island is protected by, well, some zombies of Marrow and Maggot. Very interesting and absolutely weird, but it's pretty cool. Storm sends in sort of like what's it? It's sort of like a hurricane sort of screw and starts ripping in the ground. And WizKid reminds us that actually she could probably do this all without us, etc. But they do advance, etc. And they get down there, and it's all protected by mutants that have powers to project armor, force fields, and it's all protected in there. However, WizKid has something for this occasion, but he needs time for it to hold off the goons so that it can work its magic. And Storm mentions a Genesis War as well. So the unbreakable shield is broken now. During this moment, whilst WizKid is looking on, the rest of the Brotherhood are up there. However, they soon notice that Mystique starts fizzing in and out, and it's glitching. It's not Mystique. That's right, people. Mystique is WizKid. Hence the whole little gesture earlier, just to ensure that everybody believed it, etc. So, just to take a step back, Storm was going to go reset the time very, very quickly, or at their own leisure, whenever. Now, that's not going to happen. Now, this thing here, etc. I'm looking at, I was expecting to see tubes off Moira, but it's not. Maybe it's just the power to reset it now. So, Mystique takes quite pleasure to tell you that she created a fake, etc., in terms of manipulating John to believe it was WizKid and Mystique, etc. So, which is cool. And she says she's got a translocation, so those discs that were thrown on there weren't just to reveal it, they were to transport it somewhere else. And Storm says, they can't kill us because Arako survives, John. Whether Storm dies or not, Arako survives and they will carry on living. Now, that was all very relevant, and we go back to Destiny now. And it all stems from, if the normal timeline, this is why Destiny doesn't want the timeline reset, because if the timeline resets, she knows, and it was told in Immortal X-Men, Mystique will die. She's dead. She won't survive. We don't know how, we don't know why, but she is not destined to live, and she perhaps won't be resurrected. We don't know. That's the sort of thing, etc. So, she doesn't want Sinister, who is probably very desperate to reset things because the Quiet Council are about to turn on him completely, and he's going to lose any sort of control that he had. And she doesn't want the Brotherhood as well interfering and resetting it. So it was all to manipulate the players in the game, which is what Destiny does. She doesn't want to lose these 10 years. Even though it's a grim universe, she gets to be with her wife. This is love, man. It's just love. And lots of crazy people in this world do lots of crazy things for love, so why not destiny? So she is teamed up with, to achieve this, Gateway. It is Gateway, right? Am I going mad? I mean, it sort of looks like Gateway, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't... The skin tone isn't Gateway's skin tone, unless Sinister's manipulated, but it seems like Gateway. I could be completely wrong. I could be completely embarrassed, and what you were saying, no, you fool, this is blah, blah, blah. But to me, that looks like Gateway. It's got a very nifty shell, whatever the hell that thing is. And clearly, all Destiny's trying to do is keep alive with her wife for as long as she can. Whereas Sinister Gate is wanting to take over leadership of the Sinister universe, so to speak. So, a very cool issue. And like I said, I mean, it is there. I mean, maybe they're just all part 2. Maybe that Sins of Sinister is part 1, and then it just goes on part 2. I mean, I guess I'll confirm that when I do Nightcrawlers, which I do have. So I'll try and do that in the next few days as well. But yeah, very, very cool issue. I really did enjoy it. And a great start. I'm looking forward to how Storm and that start firing back, because they seem like they didn't have any hope. And now they know that there is something that they can do. And you can't see them just dropping that, can you? I can't. So, interesting stuff. Very, very happy with this. So anyway, if you like my channel, please support by subscribing. We appreciate that. Make sure you look after yourself. Very important these days. Thank you to everybody that is already subscribed. We appreciate you, folks. And as always, embrace the geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.